Hello friends, welcome to Turn a Stone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome in if you're new, welcome back if you're returning. For today's reading, I'm going to be asking your spirit team for clarity regarding some matter in your life. So if there's an area of life where you've been feeling uncertain, not clear of the direction, confused even, or just looking for a little more information about something affecting you and your life at this time, then this reading is for you. I'll be using the Moon Manifestation Oracle cards here as your face cards for the reading, and you've got 3 options to choose whichever reading is applicable most to you. So please choose whichever gemstone resonates with you, or card, or pile number, however you like to choose your card. It's entirely up to you. But pile 1 is here, pile 2 is here, and pile 3 is here. Timestamps are in the description box below. Please click ahead to your reading, and I will see you there. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. I'm so excited to share this reading with you. I have to say, I love your reading. Very nice reading we have for you today. So let's get into it. Take a look at what we have for you in terms of the clarity that your spirit team are bringing forward for you today. So there were actually 2 cards that came out for you in the initial draw. So there's kind of a 2-pronged message, if you would like, or a 2-part message. And the first card was relax. So this is new moon in Cancer, relax. So with this card, obviously, it's about, releasing tension, letting go, easing things. And it's very interesting because you also receive the 9 of Swords in your reading, which is often the card of fears, worries, concerns. So with the relax card paired with your 9 of Swords here, I'm really hearing from your spirit team that you may have a lot of worries or fears even, but these are unfounded. I'll get into that a little bit more as we progress in your message. So they're saying you may be experiencing some great worry over nothing, in other words, is another way to put it. So you've got the relax card, and then with that came the Go Wild card. And this is the full moon in Leo, Go Wild. So it's interesting with new moon in Cancer, full moon in Leo, Cancer and Leo, of course, being summertime signs. So the summertime may be relevant to you. Obviously, that's the summer in the northern hemisphere. It'd be different if you're in the southern hemisphere. But relax and go wild is telling me that your spirit team is really encouraging you to express yourself. We're getting some messages about creativity in your reading. So maybe you have a creative pursuit that you wish to follow, and maybe there have been some fears and worries holding you back here with the 9 of Swords coming out. But their message to you, relax and go wild, is their main message. So really beautiful. Let's see, I'm gonna put it that way here. I think the lion is kind of more the energy that they want you to embody here as we continue with your reading. I also drew a rune for you, and interestingly, you got the Perthro rune. And the Perthro rune is all about, well, it's a mysterious rune a bit, so there's a bit of like magic afoot. There's something a little bit sort of mysterious and otherworldly going on in your reading. Which is very curious and may resonate for you. Maybe you're somebody who kind of dabbles in that way, or is very serious in that way. Also, I see the Perthro rune as being kind of this womb of creativity. It's often been likened to the womb of creativity, that sort of receptacle where things are birthed and born and created, and from which things that previously didn't exist were made to originate and begin. So again, this is speaking to me of some creativity in your life, maybe a creative pursuit. At the very least, it's an idea that you want to make real, to bring into the world. And that is being confirmed by your magician card here. You also received the magician card. And the magician card is, of course, all about creativity, manifesting things, bringing things, bringing things into being, creating something from nothing, the magician card. Often it's working with spirit in, getting maybe creative downloads or creative inspiration for ideas that you can then anchor in on earth. So that may resonate with you. So they're telling me with the first couple of cards here that something has been holding you back. Maybe there's a fear of being judged here. I'm noticing all of the eyes on this person. So maybe you're worried if you put yourself out there, if you go wild with what it is you want to do, maybe there'll be a lot of people commenting, not so nice things, or saying judgmental things, or criticizing, however you kind of interpret that sort of energy. It can also, for me, I sometimes think of social media. So maybe there's some kind of something you want to put out on social media, and maybe you have a concern or a fear that it may be judged harshly, with the Nine of Swords coming out here. But your spirit team doesn't want you to listen to your fears here, as the main message that I'm getting with your cards. I mean, obviously we all have fears, and we need to work with them and understand them, and do our best to tend to them. But they're really not wanting you to let those fears run your life here with the cards that are coming out for you. Um, After we look at the Nine of Swords and the Magician, so your sort of creative fire, your creative inspiration, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, which is some kind of positive movement forward. I'm hearing it's time to move on with the Wheel of Fortune card and the Eight of Cups. They are talking about leaving something behind. I don't know if maybe perhaps you're in a role at present where you're being kept small, or perhaps you feel kind of small or underappreciated or unacknowledged in your current role, or maybe your work isn't really getting seen or appreciated in your current role. And they're saying, it's time to leave that situation here with the Eight of Cups and make take a positive step forward with your work, with your life, however this resonates for you most. I do see they are suggesting leaving something behind. So that'll mean different things to different people, depending on your situation, of course. But they are saying, leaving this thing behind is actually going to be a positive step forward for you. You may have concerns about, for example, with the Ace of Pentacles, where am I going to find the finances, the money to, keep meeting my needs or to fund this project? And with the Ace of Pentacles, I'm seeing that you are going to be surprised kind of where the money comes from. I think as you take steps forward, the money will come forward for you some way, somehow. It will present itself so that you're able to continue with this creative endeavor as you need to. It may come from places that you don't expect or you don't anticipate. I also wanted to mention that the Perdra rune is often the rune of surprises. It can also be a rune of secrets, so secret surprises, things that are unknown. You may not currently be able to see, like where the money is going to come from, but the Ace of Pentacles tells us that, it's going to show up in your reality some way, somehow for you. You will be provided for in this creative journey that you are embarking on, even if you can't quite see where it's coming from at this point in time. Always too, I just want to go back to the Eight of Cups. Please always take this with a grain of salt. The Eight of Cups, leaving something behind. This is in no way just blanket advice for everything. So do use your discernment whether or not this applies to you. I'm just telling you what is coming out in the cards here and what I'm hearing from the spirit team. But please do use your discernment. Of course, it can be quite an important decision if we decide to walk away from some situation or another. So I just wanted to add that caveat before we move forward here. And then also we have the Ace of Swords. And it's really interesting with this card, something happened for me that is I've never noticed before, but I'll bring the card a little closer to the camera. If you can see the hands here, I've never really zeroed in on the hands before, but I did in your reading. So maybe you do something with your hands. Maybe this is part of the creative work that you're bringing into the world. It could mean other things as well, but with the hands, there's actually like three hands, or at least three sets of hands there. So it's not just this person's hands. There are other hands involved. So I get the sense with this card, you may be getting a hand with your project, and maybe you're getting a hand in a way that you can't anticipate at the present time. You are the key here, they're telling me with this Ace of Swords card. You are the key to bringing something into being. So your spirit team really wants you to sort of take this creative leap forward, if you will, because you are the key to bringing something into the world, bringing something into being that's very important, I think, for perhaps humanity or the community that you're involved in. It'll mean different things to different people, but you really do play a very important role, and so they're really encouraging you to get out of this situation where you may feel like you're not being appreciated. You may indeed be feeling held back by maybe some fears and worries about how you will be perceived, what people may think, or how you may be judged. But this reading is coming to you today to encourage you towards the wonderful positive things that are coming forward for you. They're saying you will be looked after in terms of money. There is support available to you as well along the way in your pursuit. So, just know that people and resources will be coming to you on your path to support you, because the work that you're doing is important. And I did also draw from the Work Your Light Oracle cards for you. And we have the Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand behind you. So I'm getting a couple things with this. First of all, you may be doing some kind of creative work related to earth keeping, preserving, kind of the planet or natural environments in some way, natural animals as well, animals in nature. That kind of work or creative action may be part of what you do. You may also be doing something that ancestors of yours perhaps were engaged in. That's a possibility as well. Or you may be also experiencing just some ancestral support for this vision that you have for what you want to bring into being in the world. We also have for you the Pleiades card. It says double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. Double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So I think this creative venture, whatever it is, I think it has a way of really uplifting humanity in a very important way. You have a lot, with the Magician here and the Perdhro and the two aces, and as well as your ancestors. There's something about the worlds beyond really working with you and through you to bring this into being. So you are not alone. If you feel like you're having to just, go out on a stage alone and you don't really have any backup, you don't need to feel that vulnerable, they're saying. They're like, there's a lot of help for you, support for you from the beyond realms. There will be sort of divine assistance along the way to make sure that you are provided for, so that you have what you need to be able to do this mission, to do the work that you want to do the creative work that you want to do, if it's a creative project of some kind. Really beautiful reading, my pile one. So again, let's go back to your two cards that came out, relax and go wild. So please don't be held back by any fears or worries you have maybe about your performance or how you'll be perceived. They're saying, really go wild, be your authentic self in the full spectrum of you. Go forward with this, because I think the world is really needing this at this time, and you have divine support to make it happen as well. So I hope this reading was helpful for you, my pile ones. Please comment down below if you liked this reading, and let me know if any of it resonated for you in particular. I'm always curious to hear that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next reading. I wish you a beautiful day full of light, love, and boundless blessings. Goodbye. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose, let's see, we've got two stones for you here. There is the clear quartz, which obviously is all about clarity. And then I have the second stone, which I inherited from someone, and I'm honestly not entirely sure what it is. But I know its qualities are protection and transmuting any negative energies, very good protective grounding stone, this one. And then you have the clear quartz, which of course is all about clarity, which is the topic of our reading. So interesting, really interesting that you got two stones. You were the only pile with two stones. There's a lot about two going on with your reading that I will explain as we go along. You have a really interesting reading. I was really kind of awed by it. It's very unique. So let's take a look at your cards and talk about what came up for you. So back on the two theme, you've got two cards that came out in the initial draw. So there were two cards for pile 2, and card number 1 says first quarter moon in Taurus, release control, release control. And then you also got the full moon in Aries, cool your emotions. And it's very interesting because this card is in the sign of Taurus, and this card is in the sign of Aries. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, those are kind of the spring months, kind of that April-May timeframe. And these are very stubborn signs, or very stubborn. They're represented by traditionally stubborn animals, I guess. The Taurus is the bull, and, bulls have that reputation for being, very stubborn, only wanting to, move when they want to move, that kind of thing. And then there's the ram, which of course, often will lock horns with other rams to protect its territory. So also, sort of a degree of stubbornness. So I don't know if you feel that you can be a stubborn person. I know I certainly feel like I can exhibit that at times. That might be something that relates to you. Also, with the cool your emotions, maybe you feel a little hot-headed at times. Like, does anger come up for you frequently? That might be something that you experience frequently. And it's really interesting, this pairing, because release control, as humans, when we do release control, often that we can feel, almost helpless, like we don't have the ability to influence a situation. That can leave us feeling very vulnerable. And I think for a great number of people, the response to that feeling of vulnerability can be to, experience kind of the hotter emotions like anger and frustration and what have you. So this pairing to me is talking about, maybe you have been feeling the need to really direct things, really be in charge, influence things strongly, have control over situations. And Spirit is kind of coming through with a gentle nudge here in this reading saying, that's really not possible for anyone. We all need to release a bit of control. Not everything is up to us. We can't, determine the outcome in every single situation. It's a reality that we all must accept to a certain degree. I think they're asking you to take a look at this. If this is a tendency that applies to you, if you have difficulty not being in charge, not directing a situation, not controlling a situation, I think this reading is maybe a prompt to just take a look at it in whatever way feels right to you. But again, we've got the 2 cards here. And then I also drew a rune for you, and you received the Yira rune. And the Yira rune, it has quite a few meanings. One of the meanings is harvest, or cyclical. It can refer to like cycles of harvest. So, planting seeds and tending crops and plants and then harvesting them, can kind of refer to that whole life cycle. It can also refer to the union of opposites. And it's that latter meaning that I think we're talking about today, because your cards are showing me there's a little bit of a dynamic play going on, perhaps within your personality or within your being, that's maybe creating this kind of back and forth sensation between, maybe feeling angry, feeling frustrated, and then wanting to surrender or needing to surrender to certain circumstances. And maybe at times you feel like you go on kind of a loop where, these 2 sort of states of being kind of play out. So let's talk about it more here. The first couple of cards out for you were the 7 of Cups in reverse and the 8 of Pentacles. So the 7 of Cups in reverse for me speaks to being overwhelmed, maybe overwhelmed with choices, kind of not knowing which thing to choose. Here she's kind of pointing a wand and looks like she's saying, I'll take that one. So you may be at a point when you're hearing this reading where you feel a little overwhelmed with which choice to go with, which direction to choose, where to go next. There may be a sense of even feeling a little lost, I'm hearing for some of you. With the 8 of Pentacles, this can often talk about our career or our body of work or even our material resources that we have amassed. So you may be sort of looking over the work that you have done, or maybe even, the resources that you have gathered, over seasons or the course of your career or what have you, and kind of wondering, well, where do I go next? Now that I've come this far in, perhaps my career or my life stage even, now that I'm here, there's all of these different directions I can go. And I don't know what to do. And I feel like, maybe you feel like you're not really in control of the direction that things are going. Maybe, you look back at your body of work and, maybe you aren't sure quite how to sum it up or what value to assign to it. So that's kind of what this initial row is pointing to, or the initial column, I should say, is pointing to. So let's take a look at what Spirit is talking about here as we go into your further cards. I think this is where the clarity starts to come in. Spirit is showing me the 4 of Wands, and this is really a card of stability. This can be the card of home and family. This can be the card of, our foundations in life. I'm really hearing the word stability very strongly here. But it came with the 7 of Wands, and the 7 of Wands often indicates challenges. In this card, I'm getting the sense that, freedom, there's a desire for freedom. So I'm hearing that you're somebody who really does value stability. I think you're a very accomplished person, the cards are showing me. I think you're a very talented person. I think you've put in a lot of work, the cards are showing me. And I think, being dedicated to something and building up results and creating stability is very important for you. However, you also have a side of you that enjoys freedom and maybe artistic expression for some of you. But there's this sense of, perhaps you're feeling a bit trapped even with the Cool Your Emotions card coming out and the Seven of Wands. Maybe you feel trapped by all of the stability that you have created in your life and you really are craving freedom. Maybe you are craving the ability to express yourself in a way that you aren't really, isn't really appropriate in whatever way you go to create your stability. For example, just off the top of my head, if you've, developed a career in the sciences, but, maybe you really enjoy the performing arts, you're not going to be able to satisfy that side of your personality in your scientific career. So what I'm hearing from your spirit team, they're showing me the King of Wands here. And I think, the messages that came out for me, and maybe you're seeing them as well, but your spirit team is really urging you to follow your passions and follow your passions in a way that doesn't necessarily abandoned that side of you that wants stability, security, a firm foundation, because I see that as being very important to your personality. However, you do have this side of you that wants to express, that wants to be free, and I think you don't need to do anything, of course, but Spirit is advising you to work that into your life as best you can. So, for example, if you do have a job, managing a science lab, can you go on a retreat a few times a year where, maybe you get together with other performers and you create shows or plays or what have you? I'm making a very random example here, but is there some way that you can devote some of your time to these passions, these pursuits, whatever they are, so that you're able to also nurture that side of yourself? Because I think the cards are showing me that side of yourself feels a bit trapped. So, this also talks about marching to the beat of your own drum. So I think you're really going to have to create a life for yourself that nurtures both of these seemingly contrasting qualities. So yes, you need the security. Yes, you need the firm foundation, the stability that is important to you. But your freedom is also important to you. Your ability to express yourself and express your talents is also important to you. Your need to be authentic to who you really are, even if it doesn't quite match, the usual model of whatever this stable foundation is. You need to be able to indulge, that quirkier side of yourself, or if it's something you think of as maybe a little quirky or offbeat or wouldn't be accepted, it's still very important for you to express that because it's part of who you authentically are. You also have the King of Pentacles here, which to me suggests, somebody who's really mastered the material world. So again, I see many of you watching this are going to be very well established in your careers. You may have been very successful in a certain kind of career. But for many of you, you've reached a stage where you may be feeling a bit trapped by what you have built up, and you're kind of looking over it and thinking, why, if I've accomplished so much and I'm stable and I have all of these beautiful gifts that come with what I have built, why do I feel a bit trapped or a bit frustrated perhaps here? So I hope that makes sense. Again, it's really interesting. You know, we've got the union of opposites here. We have these two stones that are, you know, almost sort of black and white in their coloring. So again, that sort of sense of opposites. And you also have these two kings, you know, so Spirit really does want you to take charge. But look at these kings. This is, you know, obviously we've got the masculine figure here and the feminine figure here. So it's like you really need to embrace both sides of yourself. And I think Spirit is pointing to two sides of yourself that are really seemingly quite contrasting. But Spirit wants you to honor both of them sufficiently so that they feel within you seen and heard and understood and honored, and that they have the chance to express. And from the reading, it seems that the more responsible, stable side of you has probably predominated to this point. But it's really time to make room for, you know, some of those wilder passions, I think, with the King of Wands card coming out. So I hope that makes sense, pile 2. Really interesting reading, fascinating message. I've never had a message like this before, so I hope you find this useful. I did also draw a few cards for you from the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and I will show those to you now. So the first card says, Leap, you go first, the universe will catch you. You go first, the universe will catch you. And then, you know, with this King of Wands and his drum is on fire, I get the sense that there is like some sort of creative risk you've been wanting to take, perhaps. So this, if so, you know, this is your confirmation that it would be a good idea for you to take this creative risk. Maybe this involves indulging, you know, that more non-conventional side of yourself. The next card that we have here is the this is the Take a Break card. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So perhaps, you know, if you are somebody who works a lot, has really, you know, funneled a lot of time and energy into your career, you know, I think this whole reading is really encouraging you to sort of reevaluate how you spend your time, how you express yourself in the different areas of your life. And maybe, you know, with this get off the treadmill here, you know, really look at maybe some more unconventional pursuits for yourself to help you perhaps feel more fulfilled and express your authenticity more greatly. And then finally, the last card I have for you is the Dance with Life card. It says, do something to change your energy. So with this reading, I really am getting the sense of, you know, some fresh air is needed for you, as in the sense of bringing fresh energy into your life. So do something to change your energy. So maybe it's dancing, maybe it's indulging, you know, this hobby or this interest or this activity that you have a curiosity about. Or, you know, this sort of passion within yourself that you've wanted to explore. You know, try it out. Can you incorporate it in your life in even small ways? I think that's going to help kind of bring some fresh winds, help you cool your emotions here so that you're not continually, you know, circling on this spiral of frustration here. Are there ways that you can release control? You know, maybe you're somebody who has developed, you know, a strong need to really direct things, maybe in a business or some other setting. And can you release that control to others so that you can allow yourself the space and time to explore some of these other interests? So I hope that reading has made sense for you. Really interesting pile 2 of, again, unusual message, one I've never received before. So this is certainly meant for someone out there. Thank you so much for listening to this reading today, watching this video. I do appreciate it. If you could hit that like button, that does help to support my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done that already. That also helps to support my work here on YouTube. I wish you all the best for a beautiful day full of light, love, and boundless blessings, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. This is your message of clarity from Spirit. So let's take a look at what we have on the table for you here. You may have been drawn to the gemstone. This is the Sodalite heart. And the Sodalite heart is a very healing stone. And it's really interesting because for me, it looks a lot like this globe that we have in your reading here with the Two of Wands. So there may be something about the world. Maybe you're interested in traveling the world, or you're looking at moving to another country or another area of the globe, or exploring another area of the globe, or perhaps you feel connected to another area of the globe. Lots of different interpretations there. But this is a very calming stone, a very healing stone, very good for balancing energy. So beautiful. And I think the fact that it is a heart shape is also important, because this reading is really inviting you to connect with your heart. Let's take a look at the card that you were drawn to. This is the full moon in Gemini. It says, embrace the flow of life. And the full moon in Gemini, or the sign of Gemini, I should say, is, of course, the sign of the twins. And I think we have the twins represented here. But Gemini is also known to be very communicative, a very verbal sign, really interested in language and talking and speaking and writing and communicating. So that may be very important for you at this time. And with embrace the flow of life, with this message, and the rest of the cards that we have showing up for you, I'm really getting the sense that there's, your life is kind of moving along a certain direction, and you're really being invited to embrace what is kind of happening within your own being. There's a little bit of a flow here, a back and forth. As I was tuning into your energy, I was getting a sensation around my heart space. So I think your heart is a bit activated at this time. There might be something very deeply felt in the heart space that is up for you at this time. And I was also getting a strong activation in the right side of my body, which is typically associated with masculine energy. You don't have to be a masculine, of course, for this to be activated. This can simply point to properties of, being. Having a feeling of power and authority, and that sense of getting things done and taking action. Often when we're in that masculine energy, we're taking a lot of action. And it's very curious because you also got the King of Swords as your first card out, which is also, indicative of masculine energy, taking action, making decisions. But this can be a little disconnected from its heart space. So with the energy that I was picking up, Spirit wants you to be aware of maybe a potential to go into the mental space a bit, maybe in a way that is slightly unbalanced. You just might want to pay attention to how much time you spend in mental energy, in your thoughts, in analyzing, in making decisions from a point of what you're thinking, in ways that might not be connected to your heart. So really take a look at that mind and heart connection. Are you able to kind of center in both of those spheres? Because I was getting a suggestion that there may be an overemphasis on the mental realm, on thoughts, on logic, on rationality, but not necessarily paying attention to what we're feeling in the heart space. So that's kind of what your reading is encouraging here a little bit. I also was getting a play of light and dark, or a play of lightness and heaviness, a play of lightness and heaviness. This may resonate with you at this time. Maybe you're experiencing that on your day-to-day, in your day-to-day life. Maybe you have times when you feel a bit heavier, and then you have times when there's a bit more lightness in your life, and you're able to feel a bit more light. That's really coming through strongly in your reading as well. So let's keep going here. Let's look at the rune that was drawn for you. So this is the Berkana rune. And the Berkana rune, often this is the sign of the mother. It's a very nurturing energy with the Berkana rune. So I think Spirit is inviting you to sort of really nurture the emotional side of yourself and nurture your whole self, really. Really look after your needs in every way, in the way that, a mother might look after a child. Look after your own self, your own being, your own emotional needs, all of that. Berkana is also associated with the spring, so it's indicating some lighter, brighter, awakening energies, things kind of wakening up, lightening up, more color coming into your world. So, a very hopeful rune, the Berkana rune, kind of signifying some new, lighter, brighter energy coming into your world. And I do see that with your cards as well. So, as I tuned into your reading here, we started with the King of Swords and the Death card in your first column. And my question to Spirit with these two cards was, what is the topic of conversation here? What are you wanting to give pile 3 clarity about? And they're pointing me to this transformation that's taking place within you here with the Death card. And then we have the King of Swords. So I think it's a transformation that's perhaps dealing with maybe sort of a bias that you have in your being, with being more biased to that which is practical, analytical, based, in thought and rationality. You may have a tendency, it might be sort of your more comfortable place to think about things. And rationalize them, and even the communicators, writers, people who have very intellectual pursuits often tend to have very active mental spheres. That tends to be their place of comfort. So they're kind of showing me that you're working on this tendency that you have, this bias perhaps that you've developed to be more analytical, to be more intellectual, to live in the mind a bit more as a means of kind of safety and comfort. I think it has served you well. And so it's natural that you would retreat to that space in times of difficulty. I do also want to point out into your reading, you've got the Death card here and the Five of Cups. And these cards, especially when they're together in a reading, do suggest to me some kind of a loss or something that is exiting your life or has exited your life in some way. So your cards are kind of speaking of some. Moving on from something, I would say, in some way. Something has ended, kind of both speaking about an ending. And I think you're currently in the process of working through this ending. And with the Berkana rune here, you're kind of finding the new hope and the new light that is available to you following the end of whatever this was that has ended for you. I'm also seeing kind of in your central column here, we've got the Two of Wands and the Ten of Wands. And when I see the Ten of Wands with the King of Swords, I think your tendency to be very sort of practical and intellectual and rational. You may have dealt with this ending by taking on more responsibilities, by doing more. But with the Ten of Wands coming up, it's telling me that you're feeling a bit overburdened, perhaps by maybe all of the responsibilities that you are dealing with or have dealt with. It's all feeling a little bit too much here with the Ten of Wands. This is the card of being overburdened, overwhelmed even. And you've got the Two of Wands above it. So I think you're dreaming of more freedom. You are imagining, your next phase of life, your next, how your life is going to look next, I guess, now that this situation has ended. What can it be? And I think your present circumstances may feel a little bit overwhelming and a little overburdening. It might just be a bit too much. You might be feeling burnt out. That's very possible with the Ten of Wands. And so the advice from Spirit with the Five of Cups coming out here and the embrace the flow of life card here. And here we have, a flowing river, a flowing stream. They're really inviting you to allow yourself to feel the emotions that are coming up as a result of this loss. Even if this loss occurred for you some time ago, there are likely still some vestiges of perhaps grief or sorrow. Some of those heavier emotions, as I said, I was getting that balance of heaviness and lightness in your reading. And that's exactly what's coming out in your final two cards. You've got the Five of Cups, which can be a heavier energy, a bit more sorrowful. They're saying to allow that to come through because it's very important to bring you to this lighter energy, the Page of Cups, where you can start really imagining the possibilities for yourself. The Page of Cups is a more youthful energy. It can have a lot of enthusiasm for its future. And I think Spirit is wanting you to not be afraid of allowing yourself to, fully feel those heavier emotions, because allowing yourself to experience those heavier emotions fully and not retreating to the mind every time you sense that they might be coming up. Just really allow those to come through, and it's going to be able to sort of clear some blockages for you and bring you to this sort of emotional new clearing here with the Page of Cups. So really interesting reading here. I'm also hearing for some of you, talking is going to be very important. The Gemini is all about talking, speaking. Here we've got sort of two people, so kind of, exchanging ideas or just sharing emotions, sharing experiences can be very helpful for you. You can do this with a friend. Some of you, this might be very helpful too, if you've got a good friend that you trust. For some of you, perhaps a professional therapist might be very helpful in this respect. But I am getting for you that talk in some way is going to be important for you. And indeed, if you are somebody who's more inclined towards those intellectual, mental spaces, talk is a very comfortable mode of expression for you. I did also draw for you some Work Your Light Oracle cards. So I'll show you what came out there. First, we have Soul Family. It says, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. And I really want you to see something here. If you look at, you've got these two women kind of communing here, and we have these two, what looks to me like women communing here. So there is this sense of, communing, I think, with like-minded people is going to be very helpful for you. Soul Family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. There's really an encouragement for you to reach out for some kind of assistance at this time. And again, I think communication with another person could be very helpful for you. But I'm really struck by how similar those two images are. And these are completely different decks, different artists even. So it's really amazing they would come out twice. And then the next card out for you is Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Your vibration is rising. So you heard me mention that there is this play of heaviness and lightness going on within your being. You may well have felt that yourself and resonate with those words. Your vibration is indeed on the rise overall. So I think, there's sort of maybe almost a cathartic process happening for you to help you release some of these denser emotions. And with You Are the Oracle here, you are somebody who is perhaps quite tapped into spirit, very attuned perhaps to some of the deeper things going on within your being. So, trust yourself, I think, to navigate this process is what the Pillar of Light is telling me. But do trust that, it's not always going to be, I think, it can have quite a rolling feeling, this sort of this roller coaster of heaviness and lightness and heaviness and lightness. And I think, Spirit is bringing you this card to let you know your vibration is rising. You will have times where you are going to feel more lightness and joy in your life. You've got the Berkana rune, the rune of springtime, things brightening up and lightening up. So do know that the overall trend is to more lightness and joy, even if, maybe it feels a bit up and down at the moment. And then finally, the final card that we have for you is the play card. Have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. And wow, I'm really amazed to see this because, your first card was the King of Swords. That is a very serious character indeed. And your spirit team is encouraging you to, explore the lighter side of yourself, the side that maybe has felt perhaps a little squashed down by these heavier energies. If there's something that you wish to do to get out in the world, maybe dance or however you interpret the word play, moving your body maybe in some way, or and engaging with some kind of art form could be helpful. There are lots of ways to play, of course. Spending time in a room full of puppies or kittens, all of those wonderful ways that we have of bringing lighter experiences into our world. I think that can be very effective for you now as you sort of work through this balance. But do know lighter and brighter days are coming for you. You've got this healing stone. You're kind of healing through whatever this ending has been that I think, has created some denser energies, some denser emotions. You're moving through it. And you are encouraged to talk with others, exchange words, stories, experiences. Bring in some lighter energies to the best of your ability. And I think brighter days are indeed coming for you, my pile threes. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate your time and attention. If you liked this reading, please click that like button down below. I also invite you to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free and it does help support my work here on YouTube. So thank you for subscribing. And I wish you a beautiful day full of light, love, and boundless blessings. And I will see you in the next reading. Thank you.